with all this news surrounding Xbox lately and, the issues with, exclusivity and things like that, I always feel that there is multiple things going on that really kind of grind my gears, so to speak, when it comes to how Xbox handles this stuff with fans and how Xbox handles stuff in general and how they get treated from like people like the media and developers and things like that. It's totally a weird situation and totally a wrong situation in my opinion. Like you'll always see if a game, like I can remember when Ori was originally on Xbox, right? Everybody goes, man, that game would be perfect for Switch. Why don't you put it on Switch or give it to PlayStation? Same thing with like Cuphead. There's multiple games. Hi-Fi Rush was another one, and of course, and then they ended up everywhere. But it's so strange to me that people say that, but when they're playing something like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth or Rise of the Ronin or Stellar Blade or whatever the case may be, nobody ever goes, man, this would be good for Xbox fans to play that. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, it's just such a weird situation to think that. And then the other thing is the way that you have developers kind of talking about this, it's crazy to me that this is one of the things that happens. So, like, here's a developer, Cliffy B. He's not really relevant anymore in the gaming industry. I mean, he hasn't been for over a decade, but obviously Xbox has ported some games over to PlayStation and Nintendo, very much publicized despite the 4 titles. One of the rumors was Gears of War, and fans were wondering what might be next. In a recent interview, Gears of War co-creator Cliff Bleszinski chimed in on what he thinks about the franchise appearing on PlayStation. He thinks it'd be a good thing in general for Gears to move over, allowing more players to play the series and potentially get more Gears of War tattoos. He says, and I quote, "People have been joking about Gears of War coming to PlayStation for well over a decade, and I think the more the merrier. If people own a PS5 and get to play and experience the next-gen games, that means more Gears of War tattoos." Now, of course, obviously, the famous developer is no longer involved with Gears of War in any fashion, despite saying on numerous occasions that he'd like to help Xbox out with the franchise in some capacity. Even though he's no longer involved, Cliff has no problem encouraging Gears fandom these days, he says. Current Gears developer, the Coalition, is heads down working on the next iteration, hopefully, after being pretty quiet since the launch of Hivebusters 4 years ago. So it'll be interesting to see how Xbox landscape looks once the next Gears game is ready for primetime. Now, here's the thing. Right, here's another developer. Oh yeah, let's go and put that. Like, you never see people go, oh man, God of War would be great on Xbox. Those fans would really love it, and man, they get some God of War tattoos, and that would be fantastic. And that's not the only one in the same amount of time saying that. So, Moon Studios creative director Thomas Mahler is a fairly active person on Twitter or X at the moment after making some interesting comments about console wars the other week. The Ori developer has voiced his support of Xbox in recent days, hinting that Moon Studios is likely to work with Team Green in the future. Listen, I think what he's hinting at is he doesn't want to close the books on it, but I don't think that means that he's talking about exclusives or anything, just that he's going to put some games on there anyway. He says the studio didn't have any bad ending with Microsoft after working on Ori, and that he's pretty sure they'll still do exciting things in the future. So somebody had mentioned on Twitter, we know that the private division is a much smaller publisher than Microsoft. The reach you would have if you were still with them would be incredibly greater, and it's a shame that this relationship had the ending it did. I wish you luck with your next game. And he says, I didn't have any bad ending. I'm pretty sure we'll still do exciting things with Xbox in the future. We just wanted to ship Wicked on all platforms with crossplay support, and back then that was not possible under Microsoft. I 100% believe in where Phil is heading. So interestingly, the tweet goes on to mention that the reason Moon went down a different route with this next game was to be on all platforms with crossplay support, saying that, and it wasn't possible under Microsoft back then. Of course, since Xbox's new direction of shipping games on other platforms, a release like that may well be possible with Microsoft in the future, and he's 100% on board with Phil Spencer's idea. Here's the thing, I hate to sound like I'm beating a dead horse here, but do developers not have any concept of business, right? Like, to me, like, I do not understand how they can expect a console to live and sell if the games are going on a competing platform. They're just trying to kill said console. Like, have we gone to cuckoo land or something? Honestly, have we? Because I'm just being real about it. It would make no sense. Like, if you, and I've mentioned this 100 times already, if you can go and buy a PlayStation 6 that plays Xbox and PlayStation games, even if the Xbox games come a year later, isn't that still a better deal than buying an Xbox and a PlayStation and Game Pass? You know, Game Pass is like $250 a year now, and it'll probably continue to go up. So, I mean, you're going to pay $500 for a console, $250 a year. You know, that's, to me, it just makes more sense to buy the PlayStation 6 and play and buy the one or two Xbox games that really appeal to you. They come out, you know what I mean? Like, to me, that makes the most sense. I don't think, you know, and I'm sure Microsoft might be regretting what they're doing already. I mean, we've heard that the sales are incredibly low for Xbox right now. So, I mean, again, like, these developers don't seem to have any clue on how this stuff works. So that's the part that really kind of baffles my mind. Like, I'm sure that many developers out there would want to go out and put their games on as many things as possible, but when you're a first-party developer, what the hell does that even matter to you? You're getting paid regardless, right? Like, that's the thing that does not make any sense to me. You know, and, you know, at the end of the day, I just always find it so funny that you see so many people talk like this with, you know, the Xbox games, but you never really see this with the PlayStation games. I will admit, though, you know, you see a little bit, maybe jokingly, with the Helldivers 2 stuff, but never anything with serious, you know, type of intent or intentions or anything like that, at least that I've seen. Maybe you guys have, but I just personally have never seen anything like that. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see how this kind of lands and what happens. But again, just as an Xbox fan, seeing, you know, again and again, people just go, oh, that would be a good game on PlayStation, or why are they not? Like, it really just reminded me of the Xbox One days where, you know, we had a situation where Microsoft ended up buying some rights to, you know, Rise of the Tomb Raider, right? And everybody flipped out, you know, that whole year, whatever. I can't believe it, you know, it's a travesty, it's a travesty. They shouldn't be doing this. And then, literally months later, Sony bought exclusivity rights to Street Fighter, what was it, 4 or 5? And nobody said anything. I remember Angry Joe did this little half-assed little thing on, you know, it wasn't nothing like he did with Rise of the Tomb Raider. But, you know, again, we just see the difference in the way that people treat things that Microsoft does versus the things that Sony does, and I think it's super interesting. But let me know what you guys think, because, you know, I'm always curious about that. So sound off in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, crap gamer 'em up, crap gamer out.